When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.
Welcome to LSD Radio. What you are about to hear is intended for listeners 18 years of age or older and is for entertainment purposes only. The Bad Habits Network must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any activity described on this show. This podcast may contain lewd, crude, vulgar, sexist, racist, fascist, argumentative, disgusting, appalling, explicit, edgy, and downright offensive language and or subject matter. For individuals easily offended, this may not be the program for you. We recommend turning this off now. Are they gone?
Yeah! Fuck those guys!
Woo! Let's have some fun. Tonight on LSDR, we will be talking about the taboo kink of kidnapping.
Ooh, kidnapping.
Abduction.
Is that when young toddlers take their nap in the afternoon?
The only real kidnapping I ever wrote.
Preferably with a little bit of chloroform.
No. You don't have to go chloroform. That's going extreme. NyQuil, $7 babysitter.
Benadryl.
Flintstones chewable roofies.
Yeah!
I totally wasn't. How to make you parent of the year.
I totally wasn't thinking about it. There's so many roofie jokes that we could throw along in with this.
No, yeah.
Wait, this is kidnapping and abduction. Does that breach into day rape? Can it?
If you roofie somebody against their will, yeah, kinda.
But if you take them back to their house, is it still kidnapping?
So, let's start things off proper, and let's define what kidnapping is. And obviously, kidnapping play or kidnapping fetish is just an extension of, I don't know, say, legal versions of kidnapping. But kidnapping, by definition,
is when they don't actually have candy in the damn van.
Yeah. So kidnapping, by definition, or at least in criminal law, is the unlawful taking away or transportation of a person against that person's will, usually to hold that person unlawfully. Could possibly be done for ransom or in furtherance of another crime, etc., etc. So effectively taking someone and transporting them. And then, of course, you become really fucked if you transport them across state lines, in which case it becomes a federal crime. But nonetheless, that would be if you're doing kidnapping illegally and against someone's will, or at least against somebody's, consent.
Right.
I think the kidnapping that we're talking about is consensual kidnapping, or kidnapping play, right?
Or
maybe?
Well, consent, non-consent to a point.
Sure.
Because, of course, no one's going to have a kidnapping scene where they're going to go, "Oh, no, you're kidnapping me. Oh, no."
I don't know. Some people could.
Well, yeah.
If you're really, vanilla and you're just trying to spice it up by, quote-unquote, resisting a little.
Well, that's more role play than it is actual kidnapping play.
Nonetheless, to keep things legal, at the base of any kidnapping play, you have to have some sort of agreed upon idea of what your kidnapping is going to be, and really at the base of it, unless you're into skirting those lines of legality, we're really talking kidnapping play. We're talking about legal, consensual kidnapping play, even if it is a consent, non-consent scene where the person resists and fights back. Right?
Right.
Okay. Well, now that we've set the standards...
And, of course, with any abduction, there's always going to be lots of negotiation. There should probably be a contract in place. And having spoken to several actual kidnappers that play this way, having the kidnappee on video during the negotiations saying that, yes, I want you to kidnap me, yes, this is okay to do things to me, i.e. a bag over my head,
right,
or a hand over my mouth, the trunk of a car, things like that. Having a video recording of that, even though it may not constitute making anything more legal where you're at, it very well could save your ass from prison time.
Sure, as opposed to just signing a paper that somebody could easily say, that's not my signature.
Right.
So the tricky part there is what happens if someone regrets their actions and comes back and says, I did it all under duress. That's tricky.
That is tricky.
So usually I would suggest if the people... Well, first and foremost, if you're going to get involved in a kidnapping scene, don't do it with random Joe Schmo that you don't know about. You don't know who they are or what their record is or how they have behaved in the scene before. If you're going to engage in a kidnapping scene, I would generally suggest you probably should get to know your victim to a certain extent, at least with regards to their reputation, before engaging in that sort of play.
Let's go with play partner rather than victim. Just to
I refer to all my play partners as victims.
Yeah, me too. It's so fitting.
Some of them are just more willing than others. Yeah.
Now,
so nonetheless, if you're engaging in play kidnapping or consensual kidnapping scenes, yeah. So your recommendation is obviously, if you can get it on video, that's great. Some people might be a little bit nervous about that. I would also suggest that it would be beneficial to engage in those negotiations in front of a third party. Yeah. Preferably someone that doesn't have strong ties to either person, i.e. don't do it in front of your longtime committed spouse or partner.
Neutral third party.
A neutral third party is what we're really getting at, obviously. And this is probably one of the I would say definitive areas within BDSM that you stand the greatest risk of potentially being prosecuted over if things go horribly wrong, because statutes around kidnapping are pretty clear. And if somebody claims that you took them under duress, regardless of whatever negotiation you may have had, you could be in for a world of legal hurt. So, obviously exercise a significant amount of caution when engaging in this play, because it's potentially legally a gray area for some people. I don't know about the statutes outside of Wisconsin.
Right. Cover your ass.
Yeah, cover your ass as much as possible. The more witnesses, the better. But, of course, we're talking about all the bad things and, the potential downsides to a kidnapping scene. What about some of the positive sides? Let's be instead of being Debbie Downers here.
Let's be uppity uppers.
Let's be uppity uppers.
We already talked about negotiating the scene. What would you guys want to negotiate into your kidnapping scene? What would you want to get in?
Well, personally, I really want to have a sense of who the victim is and what the victim does. I mean, if they're 90 pounds soaking wet and I can throw them in a pillowcase and over my shoulder, I'm not going to be too worried about things. It's going to be one of those, all right, this is going to be a one-person takedown in a dark alley somewhere, and it's just going to be trunk in my car and go. If they happen to be a 150-pound weightlifter that will probably knock my teeth out if I'm by myself, I'm going to want to know this about them. I'm also going to want to know their schedule personally, so I'm not doing anything that's going to impair their life. I don't want to kidnap a mother of three who has to pick them up from school and suddenly mom's not there. So having a good laid out schedule of when I'm going to pick them up. Of course,
scene boundaries is always good.
Right.
So to your previous point about knowing who your intended play partner is, I think that's definitely a really critical component, and one that I think cannot be stressed enough, is not only knowing what your potential play partners' capabilities are, but really setting boundaries and limits within the scene, specifically with regards to the physical altercation portion of it, assuming that's the type of thing that you want to do within your kidnapping scene. Some people will engage in kidnapping scenes that are very non-physical, i.e. come at me from behind, and if you're into things like just restriction play and they're not going to struggle, or they're that 90-pound soaking wet person that just isn't physically capable of resisting substantially, or if you're going in a little bit of the more extreme end and you're going to start using things like chemical assistance, which I would highly recommend not doing unless you know exactly what you're doing, because you can fuck up and kill people that way. But the whole chloroform thing for obviously taking someone down, or potential breath play and whatnot, are obviously areas that I think you can get involved in, assuming you've got the experience to do so, to take someone down without having them put up a significant struggle. But that said, there's plenty of people who enjoy the struggle portion. Me personally, I really like it when they fight back. I don't like an easy takedown. So
he
if
likes it when they squirm.
I love it when they squirm and put up the struggle. Yes, it gives me something to rub my wood against. But nonetheless, there's definitely people that enjoy it when someone fights back. It's more of a challenge. It sort of has that predator-prey mentality of, The big bad wolf taking down Red Riding Hood, and obviously them putting up a struggle. Obviously, you have to be careful when negotiating that sort of thing, because a lot of people, when they get involved in that sort of scene and that's something that's that intense and that physically intense, sometimes their fight or flight reflex will kick in. And, you negotiated no punching in the face or, clawing my eyeballs out with your really sharp, long nails. But the moment that somebody starts to, panic or gets into that realization that, hey, I'm actually getting taken down right now, I should probably fight back. Sometimes it's really hard to control someone's, natural fight or flight reflex, and obviously it can sometimes lead to injuries. So just be cautious of what the person's capabilities are. Try and set boundaries as much as possible around what sort of physical response that either party might be able to participate in. And of course, obviously set boundaries for the kidnapper as well.
And always remember, fat people are harder to kidnap. You might want to bring along some friends.
Fat people.
Or snacks, whatever
Or
works.
snacks, yeah.
Well, no,
a good old bait and switch.
Free candy on the side of a truck?
Yeah.
So, no, since you already kind of went down that particular road, question for you then,
Mm-hmm.
which would you prefer? Chasing someone down in the woods or sneaking up on someone in their house?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I mean, both. I think both are attractive to me. So for myself, I like it when they have a chance to react, a chance to squirm, a chance to fight back. So stalking through the woods is definitely attractive for me. But more importantly, I really, really, really enjoy fear play. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, especially those who've been involved in the scene. I was just talking to my slave the other day, my sub, and she and I were talking about fear play, and I made the statement, a lot of people, especially those who have been involved for a significant period of time, have learned to process pain. Pain is a type of play or type of reaction that a lot of people strive for in scenes. And after a while, I mean, there really is only a certain limited amount of types of pain that one has to really learn to process, and you can start to wrap your mind around it and pain process, right? I think fear is a completely different emotion for people.
It's a motivator for a lot of things.
It's a motivator, obviously, but it is not something that most people really, truly engage in everyday life. Pain, we all stub our toes. We all accidentally cut ourselves. We occasionally run into pain stimuli in our everyday life, and it's something that a lot of us have just become accustomed to. Same thing with a lot of our BDSM play. Fear is something that, unless you have run into it in real life and or run into it consistently, which is the key thing here, it's not something that a lot of people have a lot of experience with, and so it becomes very disturbing, and it really throws a lot of people off their game. And for someone like me, who is a huge prick when I like to play, I like to fuck with people when I'm scening with them.
When you like to play?
Yeah.
Really? Just then?
Yeah. Or all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
When I'm awake and walking around.
Yeah.
Not always. Fear is huge. So if I can also engage in fear play in my kidnapping scenes and make somebody legitimately hit that fight or flight point where they think that things aren't actually going exactly the way they thought they were going to go, and oh my god, this is really happening, and this is going to be worse than I expected. If I can trigger that fear response, oh, yeah.
I really like triggering the fear response personally, but again, with knowing your play partner, I prefer to know that their fight or flight response is going to be flight. Mm-hmm. I can take somebody down from a distance. Sure. I can make sure that I have it laid out that, oh, well, you're anticipating a home invasion scene. Yep. Okay, all right, I'm already going to know the layout of your house. You're not going to have anywhere to really get away from me. So when you hit that flight response, you're cornered. You're mine. Right. If they hit that fight response, you don't know physically what they're capable of, because adrenaline can make the human body do some pretty stupid human acts.
I would say also, conversely, that it could be the same. Some people, when their flight response gets triggered, can do crazy, stupid shit, like
go through windows,
throw things at you, swing at you with a hot fire poker that was in their fireplace to try and get you to run away while they're trying to turn tail and go the other direction. Regardless, fight or flight, I think that's if you're going for that in your scene, that's something that you definitely have to be cautious of. It's also, we haven't touched on this yet, but generally I would recommend that if people are going to get involved in kidnapping scenes like this, that you don't just do it in a one-on-one type fashion. it's always beneficial to have somebody who can either act as a spotter, who can act obviously as an assistant, if you're going to do
Backup.
a 2-on-1 or more on one, backup style person. And then also it's beneficial to have somebody who can be cognizant of potential safe words, potential escape signs, i.e. things that are triggers for someone to let you know that the scene probably should be halted right then and there because something's not going quite the way it should.
A GM, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the idea of actually having the kidnappees close significant other, or somebody close to them, a close friend, someone who's in on it,
Sure.
but not necessarily participating
Oh,
so
yeah.
much.
Yep.
If, let's just say, I plan to do this home invasion on a woman, the husband is out for the night when in reality he's hiding in the closet.
Sure.
Great, he will be around.
Yep.
He knows when things should be stopped in the event that she can't communicate that.
Yep.
Having a best friend around, as long as they're fetish friendly and understand this is going to happen, keep an eye on it, this is good. Always good to have more kinky friends.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention, it's also more people that understand what the situation is and can help you out if something goes wrong. But bouncing then to
Like to accidentally call 911.
yeah, well, the
shit.
neighbors call 911,
Yeah. Yeah.
But bouncing to another question then for you then, Mr. Raven, under the circumstances from what you've said, so would you say that you're more into chasing them down or trapping them?
I prefer trapping them personally.
By chasing them?
If the chase
Chasing into a trap.
yes, if the chase is going to ensue, I definitely want them cornered. I love a predicament chase where, yes, I'm going to chase your ass down, but there is going to be a dead end. You aren't going to have a choice. There is going to be a moment where you have to turn around and suddenly we're face to face.
It's the mouse trapped in a maze complex.
Yes.
Well,
Well, the next question is, the most basic Lego breakdown you can do of a kidnapping scene is capture, contain, release. We've talked a lot about capture. What would you do once you had them contained, though?
Well, again,
sky's the limit there.
yeah, you can do anything you want with containment.
That's been negotiated.
That's been
But
negotiated.
back to that point, what would you want negotiated? What would you want to be able to do with them during that midsection when you have the containment portion?
Well, to contain them, I really like the idea of either full body restraints,
Restraint.
restraints, or
Restrain the taint.
with a big old C clamp, or small confined spaces. I like the idea of having
especially if someone's claustrophobic.
I know, you grab a refrigerator or something, you just toss them in there, slam the door shut, and then either prop it up against a wall or tip it over so that you can't
just be
open
real
it.
careful with that so it's not an airtight fridge.
Yeah.
Break the seal, maybe.
I'm not saying it's going to be a functional refrigerator. I'm not saying that.
Hey,
I'm not trying to kill a person here. Just, I like the idea of confined spaces. I had a casket for a long time that I would actually convince people to go into it and then throw a ratchet strap around it real quick, and they'd freak out a little bit. And I'd let them freak
wheel
out.
them around on a
scream.
dolly and go bouncing over some stuff.
Right. And then I'd crack the straps off and go, okay, we're done.
Yeah. You know, it's really fun, especially if you live near a pool or something, or not a pool, but a lake or something, a large body of water. You do the same thing, but you set up ahead of time a small kiddie pool that they can't see. Fill the fucker full of water. You cart them around on the cart while they're inside the fridge. Then you say, in the lake you go. Right into the kiddie pool, because it makes that exact right sound of a huge thing hitting water. Yeah, they'll freak out.
But when it comes to containment, I like the idea of trunks of cars. Every car I've ever owned that actually had a trunk, I would climb in it myself. Almost all of them nowadays have a safety
I was gonna say
safety release handle on the inside.
Yeah, it could
Such
thwart
a
your
bummer.
plans. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Like, you don't have the capability to disable the safety release.
Yeah, but to disable it temporarily, so then you can still
replace it.
replace or repair it later is not always a cost-effective thing.
I'm pretty sure you can figure out a way to do it with a drill, a bit of chain, and a lock.
If only you knew a mechanic.
I know a few. But do we really want to tear apart the trunk lid of every vehicle I own?
Yes.
That's why you need a rape van.
A rape van?
Yeah.
There's way too much space in the back of a rape
That's
van.
why you build a cage in the back of the rape van. Soldered to the floor.
Now then, but the vehicle, would you use that for transportation or containment?
Temporary containment, mostly for transportation. Again, based on the negotiation of the scene. If this is going to be an abduction play rape, where I'm grabbing them, taking them somewhere, and sexually violating them, of course with consent.
Presuming that's what you do during the containment, sure.
Right. That's a little bit different. If they just want the thrill of being abducted and hauled somewhere and unknowingly taken places, you could do all kinds of really crazy shit with it. A 55-gallon drum with some holes drilled in it. Just toss them in it, put the lid on it, and roll the fucker around.
Filled with Skittles.
Taste the rainbow.
Taste the rainbow play. Brought to you by Cosby Sweaters.
But yeah, containment is when you would want to violate someone, in my personal opinion, while they're contained.
You could also violate them in the process of containing.
Ah, yes.
Like, stop resisting or I'm going to keep fucking you in the ass. Now,
Okay, alright.
Here comes your rug burn. Oh, yeah. Yep. Most definitely. Along those lines, would you ever engage in... So, the Lord mentioned, catch and release. Would you ever release someone only to turn around and catch them right again? Give them that false hope of escape?
The mind fuck.
I would totally do that in a scenario where I know, again, a dead end or a trap of some kind.
Yep.
Like you find this
Saw house.
Yeah, this little patch of woods in the middle of nowhere where you pull up the van and suddenly you shove them out the back of the van and they're looking around and they see no signs of civilization whatsoever. You speed off down the road just to come back 10 minutes later and you find them wandering around and you grab them again and toss them back into the van. Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Double dip. Love double dipping.
Everybody loves the double stuff. Huh.
Either that or if you can really organize it and, of course, have this consensual, have two separate crews, one of them that nabs them, takes them to the middle of nowhere, drops them off, and then the second crew comes and gets them. So they have no idea the vehicle, the people.
Oh, yeah. Even better is if you've got a stranger that can, drive up along the side of the road and act like they're there to help them when they're escaping, and then
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger. Then they turn around and obviously kidnap them instead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Pull the Fratellis on them.
Now, would you hold him for any length of time, or would it just be like short, like go do whatever, let him go, or actually keep him for a couple days?
Negotiable. I would love to keep someone for a couple days.
Oh, yeah. I've got a dank, dirty basement. I'll chain them up for 48, 72 hours as long as it's been negotiated and nobody's going to start filing missing persons reports and everything else. Yep, just oh, by the way, friends, if I dip off of social media for a couple of days, don't be worried about me.
The perverts have me.
The perverts
Right.
have me. Yeah. Just ignore the screams, neighbor.
Well, but how would you do care and feeding? Would you do bread and water, or...
Again, that could be negotiable. It just might be, here's some dick, get your protein in.
Forced feeding.
Oh,
yeah.
You want to put an NG tube in your victim? Play partner?
You could. I was thinking, a little, kidnap-y foie gras.
Someone had to go there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Cannibalism is a different show, by the way.
Yeah. So,
Throw them down the oubliette.
We're just talking random, ideas here. I mean, if the person is up for it, I think it'd be fucking hilarious to force feed someone to the point where they vomit all over the floor on a dish or something like that, and then you just leave it there and don't feed them for another, 24 hours or so, and see if they can hit that breaking point where their own vomit looks like it could be tasty.
I really want to do the humiliating part where all they have is a lavatory is a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, and a dog food dish.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yep.
Feed them in the dog food dish, you can shit in the bucket. That's your options.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, again, you're only keeping them for a short period of time. We're not talking about actually abducting and keeping someone for long periods.
Long-term storage?
Well, no, that's when you put the cage under the bed.
Right.
Oh God. So yeah, I think the next bed that I build when we renovate our bedroom, I think I'm definitely going to build a discrete cage system under the bed. That's pretty fucking hot. Even if you're not doing it for kidnapping, just sticking someone in a cage under the bed. Oh, yeah. But it also doubles as a nice place where you can hold your kidnapping victims. I mean, play partners.
Well, no. See that you put someone in the cage, and then you crawl into bed and you go to sleep. That's a power nap.
Oh yeah.
Where you nap on top of someone weaker than you.
Oh yeah. Put it on bump.
But it's true.
You're fucking horrible.
But I'm good at it. But now, how would you do the release? Would you just cut them loose out somewhere in the woods, let them run? Would you have them wake up in bed like, why does my face taste like chloroform?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is contingent upon what you've negotiated, as we keep saying. I think any of those are great ideas. Obviously, the catch and release is funny in a random location. Again, got to be a little bit careful because depending on where you release them, if you release some, half-naked chick who looks like she's been covered in her own feces after a couple of days, and you release them by the side of the road near the Denny's.
And someone will have to ask, are you a German's girlfriend, or were you really kidnapped?
Yeah, you might get the cops called on you, so you got to be real careful with that. It's, I think, to that extent, if you've got friends who live, say, out in the country somewhere, and they're in on the whole thing, I think it'd be a hilarious idea to drive someone out after you've, had your way with them, and the scene is effectively ending, and you do a catch and release outside, say, their front door, and then drive off. Obviously, there's no one else around that's going to really notice, and your friend's in on it, so the risk there is pretty low to see whether or not they're going to, go scrambling up the doorsteps and beg for help and assistance. Again, only for the person to turn around and come out wearing their leather mask. So,
right. That's bordering on Texas Chainsaw Killer.
Yeah.
I see where you went with that.
Now, when you're talking about a kidnapping team, how many do you think would be the right number for an average sort of kidnapping? And how many do you think would be just too much or too few to really do it safely?
Again, that really depends on how many aspects of this you're bringing into it. I mean, if you're going to kidnap them from a random public place, you're going to want at least one person driving the vehicle, so you don't need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
At least one spotter outside to make sure that either people are not notifying the authorities or there's just no other witnesses necessary. Yeah. And again, based on the individual, how many people it's going to need to take that person down. If I can do it myself, being a bigger, stronger guy, I'm going to do it myself because it's going to be fun for me.
Yeah.
If it's honestly somebody that I say, no, it's going to take two of us to take this person to the ground, possibly even three of us, I'm going to have 2 or 3 of us there to do it.
Yeah. I'd say 3 is usually a pretty good number. Depends on, I'd agree. Depends on what you're going to do once they've been contained.
I don't see most people physically needing more restraint than 4 people because you only have 4 limbs, and most people can.
I don't know, man. I've either participated in or observed kidnappings where them fighting back was allowed, and what looked like a relatively small, not scrawny, but relatively small person put up one hell of a fucking fight up until the point, when they clocked one of the kidnappers in the face. And it was good thing that they brought about 6 people, 6 fairly large strapping guys, to do that takedown, because probably more people would have gotten injured considering the fight that she was putting up.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
Again, a lot of it has to do with know your victim, play partner, and
the joke for the show.
Also,
is...
effectively what you're going to do with them afterwards. Now, granted, the actual takedown may not necessarily require as many people, but I've seen plenty of kidnappings where the intent is to kidnap the person, drag them off somewhere else, and then do horrible things to them. Whether that's, group rape scene, group torture scene, things along those lines. Where obviously the more the merrier. A lot of that is up to obviously the person that's being victimized. But
now back into that group question then. Would you think it was more funny that the individual know who the group is, or that they remain anonymous to them, to the individual sub?
So I've got 2 takes on this. One, anonymity is obviously a powerful thing when it comes to fear play. Now, granted, it depends on if if the scene can be controlled enough where the person realizes, from a negotiation standpoint, that there is going to be anonymous people taking them down, i.e., if they're expecting you to be taking them down and some random masked person that they can't identify is trying to take their ass out, that might cause people to obviously panic more than they probably should have, and that can lead to some issues. But as long as the person is expecting that there's going to be some sort of anonymity, I think it's a huge, powerful addition to anybody's kidnapping scene. Now, granted, I've seen variants on this where there's one person who is known to them and they are a distraction, and then the masked kidnapping crew takes them down and the person turns around and participates. That can fuck with people's heads. I've also seen another variant where there is a anonymous kidnapping where everybody's masked, and then obviously there's some consensual non-consent, some rape play and whatnot, some forced sexual abuse on the bottom, and as the sort of coup de grace, right as the person is finished with the victim, they remove their mask only to reveal that it was actually their significant other that was doing it to them. So, a little bit of emotion fuckery that you can do with people. So,
especially if you're using sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have a bag strapped over their head, no, not a plastic bag, a cloth bag so they can breathe through it, but they can't see, they can't smell effectively, they can't hear real well.
Yep.
And then you avoid actual speech. Things like that, you can get away with a lot.
Yep.
Well, and you can also have fun with the idea of the known unknowns. Like, you will not know who these people are, but if they weren't wearing masks, you would know who they were.
Yeah.
And then just spend several months dropping hints and letting them drop hints about who all was involved or wasn't involved.
Totally. Yeah.
And then, of course, you
long-term,
can always plant the, the decoys out there. Tell 15 different people to make a roofie colada joke or a does this rag smell like chloroform joke to the person, and then only take a team of 6.
Oh, yeah.
So then they really have no idea. Well, all of these people said something. Which one of them is going to be the one that nabs me? And I really liked what you brought up. I was going to bring it up later. The distraction aspect of it. That is
Misdirection.
Yes, that is always something that I personally like to do, because I like to go, hey, look at me over here. Hi, squirrel. Focus on me. Hi, yeah, hey, oh, look, you're gone.
Well, you like doing that anyway. I mean, even
Right.
if there wasn't a purpose to it, just, hey, look at me. I'm a squirrel. Look at me. Oh!
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a great example of that at an event once, where literally this just random dude comes walking up to a friend of ours and just starts talking to her, just totally out of the blue, like, hey, how's it going? You guys enjoying, the event, blah, blah, blah. Nice day out, just random, just shit-talking. And all of a sudden, we start walking over because we're going to go do whatever we're going to do, and he continues to talk and distract her, and she just is completely oblivious to the fact that there's 5 guys in combat fatigues and black masks walking up behind her, and she doesn't even see it, and boom, they take her down. It was brilliant. Because even I was fooled at the time. I'm like, what the fuck is random dude talking to? I mean, I kind of know the guy, but yeah, great technique. Great way to fully distract someone. In many cases, make the takedown a lot easier.
Left field.
On that note, I'm going to go mix us up a batch of roofie coladas, and we'll be back in a minute.
This is the Lord on Helium for the Bad Habits Network. Here on the Bad Habits Network, we got sex, kink, drinking, cigars, and education of a sort, and soon we will be including cars, vaping, female viewpoints, and anime. So if you want to keep up to date on all the bad habits, check out our great shows like Shots from the Balcony, Lord Sir and Daddy Radio, and the Lord's Asylum. And don't forget to stay tuned for all the new show announcements here on the Bad Habits Network. 'Cause when it comes to bad habits, we have the best ones.
If you're in southern Wisconsin or northern Illinois, or you just feel like traveling to meet fun-loving kinksters, check out the Janesville Area Dirty Little Freaks. The Janesville Area Dirty Little Freaks, or JADL for short, is a monthly munch, play party, group focusing on community and education. There is no cost to be part of the group, and we welcome new people. Check us out on FetLife in the Janesville Area Dirty Little Freaks group. You can get more details and learn all our rules. We look forward to hearing from you. Must be 18 or over to join FetLife or Jadolf. Lunch is held at a restaurant. Jadolf does not provide the food there. If you've previously been banned, it's for a good reason, so you're still banned. The promoters and operators of Jadolf reserve the right to ban anyone. Check out the group rules and descriptions for more details. If you're not actually listening to this part, I don't blame you. No douchebags.
Folks, this is your captain speaking. I'd like to thank you for flying with the Bad Habits Network. We hope you'll take advantage of our many amenities, such as shots from the balcony, Lord, Sir, and Daddy Radio, and the Lord's Asylum. Your stewardess will be coming by with cigars and charred oak, which we already have up here in the cabin, and we can assure you they're fantastic. Our flight time is debatable, and our destination is, of course, entertainment. The weather there is shiny, so settle in and feel free to let our stewardesses know if you need anything. They won't do anything for you, but they like to know when you need things. We realize you have a choice when it comes to travel options, and we'd like to thank you for choosing the Bad Habits Network. We hope you enjoy giving us the business as much as we enjoy taking you for a ride.
Hello, this is the Lord for the Lord's Asylum, right here on the Bad Habits Network. The Lord's Asylum is a kink-based podcast featuring stories, comedy sketches, and interviews from the kink lifestyle, brought to you by the Lord from Lord, Sir, and Daddy Radio. The intention is to educate through entertainment, so join me, my friends, and my alter egos, and get committed to the Lord's Asylum on the Bad Habits Network.
And we're back.
God, my ass hurts.
Well, you want to, while we've taken this break and had a bit of a pause on the subject, you want to do your news story?
Sure. Recently, there was a 92-year-old woman in Chile that took a nasty spill. Turns out that she has a 50-year-old fetus inside of her.
Stone baby?
Stone baby. They found a 4.4 pound.
Ouch, that's gotta feel great.
Yeah, big old rock in her belly.
There's a term for that. What the heck do they call it again?
It is a lithopedion.
Lithopedion. That's not like something with tentacles, like a Cthulhuan, or
It should be
no.
Cthulhuan.
Yeah.
Something, you know.
It does.
What's
kinda...
that? It's a lithopedion. How do you know? It has little lipids coming out of its head and attacking people. You know.
But oddly enough, the first known case of a lithopedion was found in 1582.
Oh, sure.
So several hundred years ago, in a 68-year-old woman where the fetus was estimated to be about 28 years old.
Yep.
So it takes a long time for these small stillborn fetuses to not only die, but then to be turned into stone.
Yeah, they
Calcify.
effectively calcify. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Considering the body's, a penchant for breaking that material down, and or what's really interesting is that to have a stillbirth like that and not cause some sort of toxicity, obviously, in the mother that would either cause her to die or suffer serious illness.
Yeah, basically your baby has become a kidney stone.
Oh yeah,
A
kidney
giant
stone
one.
from hell.
Yep.
4.4 pound uterus stone.
Yeah. Hey, at
Ain't
least
no peeing that fucker
At
out.
least you don't have to pass that out of your urethra.
Oh.
Well, and you kind of have to wonder. It's like, did you have a medical condition that caused this, or did you bang the thing from Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Could be one, could be the other. You'd never know.
It's the money shot that could break your teeth.
Oh.
Well, let's roll right back to kidnapping.
Seeing as we're talking about kids,
All
and
right.
that kid's taking a hell of a long nap.
So, Raven,
Yes.
question for you. If you're doing kidnapping, do you do a theme? Do you do like a military interrogation kidnapping, or like a sex slave kidnapping, or a medieval kidnapping?
Or D, all of the above.
Do you throw a theme in there to have fun with it?
Well, I would really like to keep it towards the idea of either a military abduction, because of course I don't want to sound like some paranoid crackpot or anything. The government isn't exactly our friend, and Big Brother can do whatever they damn well please. So if you think Big Brother's hauling you off to some facility somewhere, hey, that's a
For
head
your
fucker.
safety.
Yeah.
I got one as well that we've got to find a willing participant to try sometime. Forced Area 52 alien abduction interrogation.
Oh, I totally have the anal probes for that scene.
Oh yeah. Get all dressed up, all alien style, and dress the location up and have crazy blinking neon lights and shit, and make somebody
Anal
think
probe.
that they are indeed getting anal probed.
Oh,
No, don't just make them think they're getting anal probe.
Actually, anal probe.
Anal probe.
Oh yeah.
Or, you could also take that in the other direction, kidnap someone and force them to admit that they are an alien.
Oh yeah. Interrogation scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take it
Oh,
and
yeah.
run with it.
Oh.
Well, and come on, I mean, you're Schindler.
Yep.
Tell me you would not want to kidnap someone, forcing them to believe that they're a Jew, and then torture them for it.
Oh fuck yeah. That's real easy to do.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But that's why I ask about theme. Like, have you ever thought about just having fun with the kidnappings and just doing theme kidnappings?
Oh yeah, of course.
I think people that are just getting into it probably want to keep it simple. Make obviously, it is, I think, a refined and learned art to do a kidnapping proper. You can keep it very basic and be very successul.
Let's face it, we're very much hoping we're not actually talking to people that are like, well, I've never heard of this before. Let's go out and try it this weekend.
You never know. Thus the disclaimer at the start of the show.
Which is why, no, this is... welcome to the advanced class, students. If you're not advanced, fuck off.
So, yeah, I mean, for obviously beginners, it'd be a good idea to keep it relatively simple, make it, a basic kidnapping scene. But obviously, as you do more of them, especially if you're doing it to the same victim multiple times, it's always good to, variety is the spice of life, right?
Oh,
so,
kidnap for a satanic sacrifice.
Oh, fuck yeah. Especially if you can get a bunch of your friends that,
Yeah, get the torches going, the bonfire.
If you're going
red
camping.
stars everywhere, yeah.
All the hoods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You get one of those stabby knives that retracts the blades so they think they're actually going to get stabbed and then the blood spurts everywhere.
Well,
or you just cut the bitch. I mean, whatever is your tank. Doesn't
well,
matter.
and if they can see what you're doing, I mean, you could always pull the quack medical thing of having a little balloon full of blood and goop, and just as you're going, push in and pop the thing, so it looks like you've just reached into them and start diggling around, pulling out little bits of things while laughing maniacally.
That's really fun to do to someone after you've fisted them, especially anally.
Well, no, at that point, what I do is just fist them, do like a perfectly normal fisting, everything goes perfectly well, and then have the bucket of blood underneath, and blood and gore and sticky crap, and just dump my fist into that, and then hold it up. Like, I think something might have gone wrong, but that's okay. You have a great future as a puppet.
I told you not to squeeze.
Next time I tell you to relax, I mean relax all the way.
Welcome to a wonderful world of shitting pancakes for the rest of your life.
And mind fucking. I mean, that's the thing, is if you're doing something like that, your intention is clearly to mind fuck. And to
Really?
just play with their brains.
I thought we were just supposed to, be all kumbaya-like and hug trees and sing songs.
Oh, we're gonna kumbaya some fucking yas. But no, wouldn't it be great to have a kidnapping scene put together, but have it set up where everyone just shows up and it's like a kumbaya camping scene and everything's delightful? And maybe instead of having one prearranged victim, have a group of 6 and all they know is one of them. One of them will get grabbed, but they don't know which one.
Yep. Which also plays really well to the the campy horror movie type kidnapping scene, where in that very same vein, one person is potentially going to be a victim, or you kidnap and take people out one by one. It's always fun to play survivor games in the woods. Be a little bit careful, obviously, if it's nighttime and stumble and hazards like that. But
there's always safety, environmental awareness,
exactly. But where you do group kidnappings, where there's more than one victim and they don't know the exact order that they're going to be kidnapped in. And even more fun is, say you've got 6 potential victims that are all going to get kidnapped. What they don't realize is that of those 6 victims, one is a plant, and that one plant is actually one of the kidnappers.
Oh, that's a great.
Oh yeah, survivor game kidnapping, great thing. If you've got a long weekend or something, or you're out camping with your buddies, or just doing whatever, setting up sort of those long-term survival-esque kidnapping type events, those can be good times. Well, you know what? That'd be kind of a great idea for an actual kink event. Would be like a kink event that is literally a weekend of random kidnappings.
Yeah.
And you never know who's the kidnapper or kidnappee until it fucking happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the problem is trying to get a group that large together that's that comfortable with each other and that's that well aware, because there's always one. In any group, you got 2 people that don't like each other, and then you put together 2 groups. You got 2 to 4 people in each group that don't like 2 to 4 people in that other group.
You just have to have good rules of engagement. You just have to have people list out who they're comfortable with, going after them, what their limitations are, have very clearly defined, limits as to what they permit in a scene. Don't say, I'll let you do anything but this one thing, because someone inevitably is going to come up with something fucked up that you didn't think about. If you're a kidnapping victim, I highly recommend that when you're negotiating these scenes, that you keep the things that you're going to have done to you to a relatively short list.
Yeah.
Come up with a dozen things that are permissible during your kidnapping scenes, the level of physical altercation that can occur, whether or not sexual contact is permitted, whether or not, and if it is, what orifices are allowed to be violated, potentially by who,
and in what way,
and in what ways.
Like if you're gonna shove something up my ass, there damn well better be lube involved, kind of deal.
Exactly, and it has to be one of these three people.
Unlike what Raven would do,
Right.
like you do. But no, I think it'd be fun to take the 1 in 6, but do it to where it's like long weekend, and make them sweat it out for the first day and a half.
Oh yeah,
and just make them really freak out.
Yep, totally random.
Then you take the 1. And you have the other 5 as the group that deals with them during containment.
Okay.
They're the ones that actually, now that they've spent a day and a half freaking out about what was going to happen to them, let them take everything they were afraid was going to happen to them and do it to the person that actually was kidnapped.
Sure.
Because I'm a heartless bastard. I know. You look shocked, Raven. But it's true. It's true. Now, let me ask you, though. Okay, kidnapping?
Yes.
Just about done. Would you take a trophy, and what would it be?
Oh, if I was allowed to take a trophy, you're
Fuck
damn
yeah.
right I'm taking a trophy from them.
Would it be like a picture, a lock of hair, a piece of ripped clothing? What would you take? What would you want?
More than likely, I would take a piece of ripped clothing, because I really, really like shredding clothing off of my victims, play partners. But just tearing their clothes off, all primal-like and forceful. I've met very few seams in clothing that can hold up to the many, many pounds of pressure I can put on them.
Okay, Shitler, you're over there just giggling to yourself. What is going through what I'm laughingly calling your mind?
This may not seem super significant to some people, but I think it's pretty fucked up.
No, go ahead. Let your inner serial killer out. What do you got?
Finger and toenail clippings.
Oh!
For 2 reasons. One, it's a fucked up piece to take from someone because most people aren't going to think you're going to do it. And 2, how many people out there get fucking squigged out at A, the sound of nails being clipped, especially when they're not your own, and even more so when somebody else is doing it to you.
Oh, that would fuck with my head.
You do it with a really super dull fingernail trimmers, so you got to apply a lot of pressure to the nail.
And then you hear that
crack. Crack.
See, with you, I was thinking like a cheek swab or a vial of blood or something like that.
Totally, yeah.
That you could wear as a keychain.
You texture it out. Oh yeah, big time.
Well, no, you don't have to go crazy Dexter. Just a little vial of blood. Get it in a little container.
Oh yeah, if you're allowed to take some blood from them, that's always a good time.
I'd really like to kidnap somebody that has some sort of body dysmorphia, so I could actually take a piece of them with me.
Well.
I mean, not everybody needs their pinky toe, right?
Depending on the state or country you live in, that may or may not be permissible.
And think about the trophy. I could have a necklace of toes.
I'm not really sure you don't. I'll just be honest about that right now. If someone were to tell me, dude, the cops just raided Raven's house and they found a necklace of toes, I would be like, it doesn't surprise me. No, I got nothing.
Were they his own or someone else's?
Yeah.
No, I know the answer to that. Never mind.
Were they friends or family?
Yeah.
I really didn't think he would do that, but now that you mention it, not surprised he did.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
But yeah, I would honestly need the person with body dysmorphia that doesn't want that part of their body there to feel as though I can cut that part of them off without them having some sort of remorse further down the road. But I think that would be the best trophy.
Would you fuck with them and, after you've cut it off or you're about to cut it off, say, whoops, wrong one?
Yes, he would. He'd do that anyway.
Because I know I would.
That's pretty much how he gets most of his anal going. But
oops, wrong one.
Well, I was going to ask, but instead, what if, you can't quite do the full body dysmorphia, but what if it was a girl that let you shave her head?
Oh, fuck
Oh,
Keep the hair.
Fuck yeah.
Keep
the hair.
If she had braids or anything, I'd keep the whole fucking braid from all the way from the scalp all the way to the tips.
Yeah.
But would you take the time and the patient effort to make it into a wig and wear it every time you saw them?
Oh no!
That's fucking genius.
If I got a bunch of braids off of some bitch after I cut her hair in containment, I'd make that shit into a flogger
and hit him with it.
I'd chase him around the dungeon with it. Bitch, I'm gonna beat you with your own hair.
Or take like strips of the ripped off clothing and make bracelets out of it.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
be like, hey, how's it going? Wave.
That
Use
I
it for
would do.
bondage. Tie them up with their own, long hair or their own ripped clothing.
I do like taking remnants of the ripped clothing, especially when they have like pictures and shit on them, and then like making a little handkerchief of the center picture of their shirt. They'll never know for sure whether it was theirs or not.
Yep.
But they'll damn well think it was.
Yep. Other fun things you can do.
I
is if
patch
you're
out of a
gonna-
G-string.
Well, what I was going to say is when you cut their underwear off or rip their underwear off of them and you are having your way with them during that one scene, you keep that piece so that the next time that you engage in whatever play you're going to with that victim, you shove those panties in her mouth and you say, remember these.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bring back some memories.
Also great trigger points if that's going to lead into your next kidnapping scene.
Yeah.
You thought this was going to be regular sexy time. Oh, no.
Welcome to round 2, the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Summer Camp from Hell Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Revenge of the Zombievers. So let me ask you, what could happen in the scene through the kidnapping that could happen that would squick you?
That would squick me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's much that they could do to actually squick me. There are plenty of things that would end the scene and make it as though I...
End prematurely.
Yeah. If they happen to try to gnaw off one of their own limbs.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I mean, if I walk in and they're halfway through their calf trying to gnaw their own foot off, I'm like, I think we've gone a little too far. Time to seek medical attention.
Or bite through their thumb to get out of the handcuffs.
Right. If they're willing to go to that extent, I think I mind fucked them a little too hard, and their gray matter is squishy. And I think we're both going somewhere, them to a mental institution and me to prison. But I don't think there's actually anything that would squick me from all of it. You forget, I'm the one that would give them the dog food bowl and a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, but what if you had one that just out of nowhere just somehow managed to pop out of all the restraints, pulled out a taser they had hidden in the location, and came after you going, all right,
Your
time to play reverse roles.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
fucking
it's going to have to be a
priceless.
really strong taser because I've hit myself with mine. And they're going to have to deal with my fight or flight response, at which point...
We call this escalation.
Yeah, we call this
Or what if their head
provocation
turns all
implies
the way
consent.
around and they start vomiting green pea soup and speaking Latin backwards?
Then we're just having an exorcism scene.
scene.
Or,
I'm
or,
fine with
or
that.
levitation, you know.
Oh, that would be a cool party
That just
trick.
means they have really bad gas.
I've always wanted to have sex with somebody while they were levitating. Ever since watching that Ghostbuster movie.
Yeah.
She's just floating above the bed. I'm like, yes!
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I am jumping on that shit.
And then the
What I would
pants
want to
open
know
up.
is whether or not she could levitate and go down and levitate and go down and just
Do the
hover over
bob.
my dick.
Well,
I don't. Neither of us
but-
have to really even do anything. Just up and down and
Which
up and
one
down.
are you talking about? Are you talking about the later scene with Dana Barrett
Yes.
where she was floating, or
Yes.
the earlier scene where there's a ghost floating above Ray of a hot chick just in amorphous clothing floating above him, and all of a sudden she just sort of fades out and his pants open on their own?
The first one, the Dana Barrett scene.
Yeah, the Data Barrett scene.
Yep.
Really,
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't want to actually get banged by a ghost.
I'm not saying I wouldn't get banged by a ghost, but I was thinking more along the lines of an actual corporeal woman levitating.
I can't imagine ghosts are very tight.
You never know.
It's all floppy.
Yeah.
And where...
I mean, if you're into super sloppy
am I
rolls,
just going to ejaculate into her ectoplasm? I mean, what?
I'd be worried about going through her and hitting myself.
What do you mean worried about? Wouldn't you enjoy that?
Well,
Then you just keep the angles right. Aim for the alarm clock.
bingo.
Aim for the alarm clock.
Bingo.
See that blinking red light over there? That's my target.
Oh, yeah. Hit it every time.
But yeah, I would totally want a trophy if that was allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hair isn't a big thing for me, but if there's going to be a significant amount of hair that's going to be removed, yeah, I'll take a
not
nice
even
long
necessarily
braid.
the hair for its own sake, but just for the trophy, just to be able to look at that lock of hair and go, that was a really good time.
Memories.
Well, a small lock of hair isn't going to do nearly as much for me personally as some shredded clothes, but I do like the idea of
a braid of hair that you can turn into a cock ring.
There's no real way to clean that. Maybe if I'm just using their
wash
hair, if I'm using their hair as a cock ring for when I'm doing things to them, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, but what about if you have someone that has, say, longer hair, you cut it off, and now you've got this braid of hair immediately available to you, or you choke your pet with it while you're banging her.
Yeah.
That could be fun. That could be a lot of fun.
I'm just saying. Happy memories attached. Happy memories attached.
Yeah.
Huh.
But seriously, wouldn't you do that with your little girl?
What? Take a trophy? Or choke her with someone else's hair?
Choke her with someone else's hair while you bang her.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know my pet has a really big squig factor with other people's hair when it's not attached to their body, so that would probably end the scene right quick.
Only if you stuck it in her mouth when you're choking her.
Oh no, that would make her vomit everywhere, and she probably wouldn't touch me for a while.
No. That was the other episode. That was like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. Rainbow play.
We're not on rainbows now. But I don't know. In theory, you could add coprophilia or rainbow play or any of those things to kidnapping.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like what you said, overfeed them, make them vomit, and then wait until that vomit looks appealing for them to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Or while you got them and you're trying to, break them, piss and shit on them.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Now, would you ever videotape it and make them watch it?
That would be an interesting idea.
Oh, put it on a 20-minute cycled back, so then it's on a live feed, but they're watching what happened 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
And then just every couple of hours do something terrible to them, so then when you leave, they're watching it over again.
Yep. Now, if you really want to go super fucked up, you got to find yourself a pair of twins.
Oh.
Because then you kidnap both the twins in separate holding areas, and then you do horrible things to the one twin, record it, and then play it for the other one over there, and you do that back and forth a few times, and then they can't quite remember what actually happened to them and what didn't.
Or just live feed it in between the two?
Or just live feed it.
Well, but on the other hand, if you took it to, if you had a pair of twins, males, you could start screwing with time. Especially if they look alike. Once you've had them restrained for a little while and they don't quite have the concept of time.
Oh, sure.
Send one in, bang the hell out of him.
Yeah.
He leaves. A minute later, next one comes in. Well, it's been a few hours. Time to go again. And just do that every once in a while to screw with her.
Sure.
Completely lose
I
sense
thought
of
you were
time.
talking about banging the guys.
No.
Using
send the guys in to bang the girl, but send them in immediately right after each other, but at the same time have them say, well, it's been a few hours, so...
Let's not be sexist here. We can kidnap guys as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, but in that way, same thing with the girls.
Yep.
Be like, look, it's been a few hours, why can't you get hard again?
Yep. You little pissy
You,
dick.
you act like we just banged you, what the hell?
Yep. Someone's dick doesn't work. Who's not a man? Then you can just feed them, forced Viagra.
Oh.
Fuck them till their dicks raw.
Well, yeah. I mean, what else would you do with Viagra?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. You've seen the ABCs of Death, right? There's a great scene in the ABCs of Death where it's a guy that's getting forced to basically masturbate versus
terrible,
another
terrible
guy
things.
to terrible, horrible things.
Yes.
And he has to masturbate, and the one that comes first is the one that lives, and the other one that doesn't come gets killed. And so they do this to this guy over and over and over again.
With worse and worse things.
With worse and worse things, and he's just fucking blowing like hot air out of his dick at this point. And yeah, you could probably do that to someone that you had kidnapped. Forced masturbation or forced CBT. Good times. Yep.
Now, back onto the topic of release. There's one...
Orgasm or...
No, the release of the kidnappee. One of the things that I would really, really like to do with it, for the head fuck aspect of it, don't use any chemicals in the beginning. You use force to kidnap them, contain them, do what you want with them, do what's negotiated with them, etc. And then, right near the end of all of it, then you start to use a little bit of chemicals, probably a roofie in their meal or something of the like. Have them wake up in their bed next to their significant other, and their significant other goes, "Did you have a bad dream?"
That's great. Of course, we have to say this is all theoretical,
right?
And we're not condoning the use of any sort of medication, legal or otherwise, to engage in such activities. But theoretically,
right,
that's a great idea. Oh yeah. And if you really want to fuck with them, depending on what you did to them, leave just a little slight trail of blood in their underwear.
Just let them wonder.
Just let them wonder. You can plant random pieces of evidence around the house. Used condom in the trash bin. You know, pair of bloody underwear. A black glove. Yeah.
But then you really need the SO in on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They need to further the head fuck
yeah.
by what? We just had a nice weekend to ourselves. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with you?
You
What's
got
going
really
on?
drunk and blacked out.
I wasn't sure whether I should take you to the hospital or not. I just decided to let you sweat it out and keep an eye on you, but you seemed fine. I mean, you're getting up and eating. You just weren't talking much, so I left you like that.
Hot dog?
Don't worry, it's a foot long. Plenty of protein in there.
Hopefully this one isn't as cheese filled as the last.
Oh.
And then you had to go there.
Everybody loves cheese filled wieners. Yep.
No, they don't. Some people are lactose intolerant.
You ever had a kosher cheese filled wiener?
They make those?
That's my question.
I don't think
Hey,
they
Jude,
can.
do they make those? I mean, if it's artificial cheese, sure.
You're
if
not
it's
allowed to
chemical
mix
cheese,
meat and dairy. It's one of those.
If it's chemical
Right.
cheese,
Yeah, but if it's chemical, it's not kosher to begin with.
I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah,
Resident
it's
Jew.
pretty solidly true. They like
Everything's
everything to
made
be
of
natural.
But everything's
Yeah.
made of chemicals.
But then you're mixing meat and dairy, so technically.
But there's naturally occurring, and then there's artificially created.
So it can only be. So how are hot dogs in the first place kosher?
Because they use actual all meat.
True. Just
They
grind it
use
up and
all
whatnot.
meat, real
Yeah, that's
casings, the
true.
whole bit.
That's true.
That's why the kosher dogs are the best hot dogs out there, because they're not made with whatever the hell they swept up off the butcher's floor.
Gotcha. We need to figure out a way to make kosher cheese dogs then. That sounds
You can't.
delicious.
You're mixing meat and dairy together. That breaks the rule of
There's
kosher.
got to be a way to make it.
Ask
Resident
your local
Jew.
rabbi.
What if it's
You're a
veg-
resident Jew.
What if it's a veggie dog? What if it's a veggie dog with real cheese?
It's still not natural as hell. I'm going to veto that on my own authority.
That's just not natural.
Point taken. So,
Buttons on your underwear.
yes. Do you have any more fun questions in there that we need to go through?
Actually, we really don't need to.
No? You don't have any other more fun questions? Okay.
No, I
So
think I'm pretty
I'll
well set.
transition this one. So back to we were talking about the little news item there and stone babies and whatnot. Would you ever? I already know the answer to this, but hypothetically, would you ever engage in a forced abduction and impregnation scene?
Depending on who it was, yes.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm not going to run out there and try to impregnate anybody and everybody. Fuck no, I don't want children. But if that was part of their scene and we had already signed the paperwork that, of course, no matter what the paternity test says, I have no parental rights and you're doing with it what you want. And of course, probably if the SO is like, yeah, sure, I want you to fuck my wife and get her pregnant and we want to have your baby. Can you abduct her first? Yeah, sure. I would totally be down for an abduction forced breeding scene.
Well, I'm going to jump in there and be like, no, you got to be more specific. You don't want to just give up parental rights. You also have to give up parental responsibility.
Yeah.
Because deadbeat parents can lose their parental rights, but they still have a financial responsibility for the sake of the child.
Yeah,
And you don't want that.
I don't want any of it.
Even if it's Shitler's kid.
Right.
Because let's face it, if Shitler gets a hold of you and is like, I want you to kidnap and impregnate me.
Oh yeah. I want you to try real hard.
No, dude, you're gonna have
Super
so
hard.
many butt babies after I'm done with you.
Goodness.
Oh Jesus.
And with all the jewelry that he wears, those butt babies are going to come out armored.
They might. Armored brown babies.
Yeah. Half robot.
Is that a thing?
I might shit out black Arnold Schwarzeneggers.
I'll be back. Ah, no.
Don't wait for the explosion. He already looks like a Terminator.
No, he looks like the Turdinator.
Shitler giving birth to the Turdinator. It's only fitting.
So yeah, so...
What's the matter, pet? You don't want to have some half Wookiees?
No. There are enough of Sir in one Sir. I don't need any sort of dilution of Sir running around separate.
So would you be against, Sir, forced breeding, not forced, consensually breeding a bunch of random breeders?
That's their problem, not mine.
As long as they don't come up to me going, Mommy.
Yeah, not coming out of me. That's fine. If it bites your labia on the way out, that is not my problem.
What are you talking about? Any child of mine is going to tear that vagina open like a bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, well.
Doritos.
It's going to be hairy. It's going to be big.
It's going to have really sharp teeth.
Fuck yeah. Might just be born with them.
That's not unusual for babies to be born with teeth. Not usually full set and not usually sharp, but yours.
Mine.
Yours would be filed to a point.
If they come from someone with vagina dentata, they may come up fully formed.
A little bit of Sir dentata, a little vaginal dentata makes for a
full set of teeth.
Full
The
set
chewing
of teeth.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh fuck me, that sucks.
Oh yeah.
That sounds awful.
I could just imagine my spawn coming out and the doctor reaching for something to cut the umbilical cord and the little fucker's already reached down and bit it off.
Oh yeah. Delicious.
Oh my goodness! How
Sometimes
did
he
this
hasn't
happen?
confused his umbilical
You're
cord with
talking
his
about
dick.
kidnapping.
Yeah.
And this is what happens.
Yeah. Kidnapping with breeding.
Yeah, we added that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because breeding is a fun subject.
Because kidnapping wasn't enough.
You got to put a little bit of whipped cream on top.
Gross.
Yeah, so what's your thoughts on breeding?
I've offered to many people that, yeah, sure, if you want my babies, it could happen.
The women are out there trying to steal your man seed.
No, not really. They
See?
ask for it politely.
You could be in Ted too.
Well, we have a very close friend of ours that ever said that if she ever found a lesbian lover and they wanted children, that she would totally suggest me to be the father so that they wouldn't have to pay for extra artificial insemination.
Was she drunk and or high at the time?
No,
Yes.
no, she was perfectly sober when her and I had this conversation.
You notice a very, very clear limitation to that when we had this conversation.
Yeah.
All the rest of the time, drunk and
as fuck.
stoned.
Hey, I might need a little bit of liquid courage to do that to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much liquid courage. That'll shut the whole boat down.
If by liquid courage you mean your spunk.
That's not really liquid. It's kind of chunky.
Large curd cottage cheese.
Large curd.
That's his favorite.
Oh, you should check your diet, buddy. I don't think you're hydrated enough.
No.
Oh, we totally...
Booze doesn't count, I know.
No.
The other night, Pet was really, really kind of tired and fairly intoxicated, and I said, hey...
Fairly, not unfairly. Fairly.
Yeah,
I said, hey,
the rules.
what would you do if I ejaculated ranch dressing? And she looked me straight in the face. And this was what I wasn't expecting, was her response was, well, I'd probably suck your dick more often with cheese curds. I'm like, oh, damn. Because the next morning I made the same joke about the sausage gravy on the biscuits, and by this time she had sobered up, and then I got the response that I was expecting of, then I'd take you to the doctor.
What about some delicious penis colada?
No.
I don't know, you want a glass? May or
If
may
you
not
like
contain
penis
roofies.
colada.
So we're going to talk more about breeding, or was that just a side note?
It was just a side note.
That was just a side note. And on that side note, I'm going to ask all of our audience members to be wary of anyone that asks you if this rag smells like chloroform. And
Or don't.
or don't.
I think someone roofied this drink. Could you try it and let me know?
Oh, we never talked about the combats of roofies, that fingernail polish.
Those
another
are
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
What?
We can talk about those. Yeah, like
Yeah, we'll add that to the end segment right here. A couple of Students, oddly enough, since there was such a roofie epidemic going on, developed nail polish that would be able to sense whether a drink was tainted with drugs or not by the woman swirling her finger into her drink. If the pretty color turned black, she knew her drink was spiked with medication that would knock her out.
Yep, it was chemically reactive with several of the chemicals typically found in Rohypnol and a variety of other things.
That is fucking brilliant.
Oh, yeah, it was real
Give
discreet.
those bitches a Nobel Prize.
Because you could French manicure just the tips of your fingernails, so it was real discreet. Somebody wouldn't notice. Obviously, your fingernail had suddenly changed distinct colors. But yeah, paint a little bit on, just swirl your finger in there, and yeah, away you go. Now you know whether or not that douchebag sitting next to you at the bar has, tried to date rape you.
Right.
Brilliant idea.
And
though the fact that we have to invent things like that is still a little fucked up, but,
hey,
science.
Everyone I give roofies to is
You cut their
consensual.
fingernails off first.
Right. No. Again,
Thus, to my previous point of trim their fingernails.
You're a sick bastard.
He knows.
We do not condone drug use or unknowingly drugging anyone.
Any illegal drug use,
Yes.
we pretty much condone.
Wait, what?
I was waiting for that one. I'm like,
Yes.
how long? Come on, Raven.
Yeah.
No, condemn. Yes, we condemn it. But,
Yes, condemn. That's the word we were looking for.
Right.
Waiting.
But,
No, we do condemn any illegal drug usage. Legal drug usage we thoroughly encourage.
Oh, yes. Please.
that does not mean take your date out and get them super drunk just to abduct them. Ask
Unless
them
that's
first.
part of your scene negotiations.
Don't just abduct. Ask first.
Right. Like, if your pickup line is, hey, you're cute. Can I abduct you and throw you in the trunk of my car? And when they're sober, they say yes. I think that's kind of game on.
Is there any point at which their level of intoxication renders them incapable of further consenting?
Technically, yes.
Technically,
So-
Well,
yes,
just because
depending
they're
on the state you're
abducted,
in.
you can contain them until they're sober again.
Yes, but then it would. What if it's against their will at that point?
Technically,
Or-
no, you can't. If they are drunk, and you do, even in some states, the moment. So that's a tricky legal line to cross
what I
there,
wanted
because
to
in
know.
some states, you cannot consent, period, whatsoever, and consent ceases in the point in which the person becomes intoxicated. Intoxication, obviously, being defined depending on a variety of different factors, typically blood alcohol content and whatnot. There are some states where you can consent to an act while sober and then get drunk and do whatever. You know, there's plenty of states where you can get trashed with your spouse and go have some nookie time based on, marital consent or whatnot. But that's a very... It'd be good to look up your local statutes first to find out where intoxication plays into the ability for someone to consent. Because there could be instances where somebody perfectly was capable of agreeing to a scene, and as part of your scene negotiations, you wanted to, do the date rape play scene out at a bar and get them drunk and take them home and do horrible things to them, and or kidnap them. There are some states, and even possibly some local ordinances, or some even countries outside of the U.S. where the moment that they hit that intoxication point, all consent is out the window. So be real careful. Obviously, do your own investigation. Consult a lawyer if you need to. Have an entertainer. But be careful because, in many cases, the moment that intoxication comes into play, it can vastly change the rules of engagement.
But on a lighter note.
Good question, Pet.
Good question, Pat.
Thanks.
But yes, on a lighter note, we like to joke about doing terrible things, possibly illegal things.
And we usually do about 90% of them, but don't follow our example.
Make your own.
Kids, don't try this at home. Go to a neighbor's house.
Preferably one that's into home invasion.
Go to a neighbor's house, but make sure they know you're there.
All right, this has been Lord Sir Daddy Radio.
I'm the Lord.
I'm Sir.
And I'm Daddy.
And until next time, keep your rags wet with chloroform and roofies in your coladas. Have a good night.
Peace.
Record better audio anywhere with Motive digital microphones from Shure. Easy-to-use options like the MV88 plug directly into your phone or computer and include a free app. Create studio-quality sound for podcasts, music, and videos. Visit Shure.com to learn more.